evening, everybody. Welcome into the Bleacher Brothers Sports Network. Robbie LaStella aboard with you. It's been a minute. It's been about a week since we last saw you here on the Bleacher Brothers show. Drew Shula, my co-host, Christian Proscia, my other co-host, along with us. Special guest tonight is Grimace. He's been powering the Mets to a win streak, so I had to include him in our show. He's filling in for Toby tonight, but he doesn't have much to say. So, Christian, Drew, how we doing tonight?
Doing well, Rob. How are you doing? I'm honored to be sharing the screen with a pop culture icon, also known as Drew Shula. I guess Grimace is here too, so it's a good night. But I miss Toby, but we might have to make this a permanent move.
Drew, how we doing?
I would say I'm doing well, but we got some explaining to do. I didn't see a picture of Drew up there on the LASTELLA report. Who do I got to talk to make this happen?
You know, man, I don't know. They did you kind of dirty. I don't know necessarily why you weren't included on that new graphic, but hey, we'll get you in on the next one. Our graphic team doing the best they can. We're a small budget over here at the Bleacher Brothers Sports Network, but we make it work. And even though, our budget may not be the biggest, we're covering all of South Florida for you. That's what we're getting into tonight here on the Bleacher Brothers Sports Network. We've got a ton to cover in terms of FAU. We've got news from FAU basketball, FAU football, FAU softball, and yes, even FAU baseball's got some news cooking, even though you probably haven't heard about it. It's not anything crazy, but I got the scoop for you on what your Owls have been up to in the summer. We'll get to that later on in the show tonight, but what I want to jump into first, it's official visit season here across the country, and we're in the hotbed of football recruiting. South Florida does it best. If you don't believe that, then I don't know what to tell you, but Christian can also vouch for the fact that South Florida's got some ballers. OV visit weekend, Christian. We'll get to FAU in just a moment, but what has been cooking in the county outside of the Owls?
All right, so throughout Palm Beach County, we had multiple of our high-end rising seniors take official visits this weekend. We had three-star safety from Cardinal Newman, Mr. Max Redmond. He took an OV to Illinois. Tony Williams, four-star DB from Palm Beach Central, took a visit to UCF alongside with Bleacher Brothers' favorite host, Wade and Charles. You know him, you love him. But Waden was up in Orlando too. The two of them were out there. Also joined by Vero Beach four-star linebacker Tarvos Alford Jr., who is an Ohio State commit. Kamari Williams, a three-star wide receiver, also from Palm Beach Central, took his official visit to Arkansas. Williams is an Arkansas commit. And then another thing of note was Preston Douglas, tight end, D-end from Benjamin, I spoke about last week, ended up canceling his NC State visit, committed to South Carolina after his visit. Also, speaking positively about NC State, they secured both Santa Lucia's wide receiver, Jamar Browder, and Santa Lucia's defensive back, Caden Gordon. And then another little south of the county commitment was five-star quarterback from the class of 2026, Dia Bell from American Heritage Plantation, verbally committed to Texas.
That's yes. Rajah Bell's son.
That is Rajah Bell's son, and he is as good as an athlete as his dad. Like, I've had the privilege of watching him work out. He is a dog.
Where did he go to high school?
Dia?
Yeah.
American Heritage Plantation.
And he played with is that where Davy Belfort went too?
No, Davy Belfort went to Western.
Oh, okay. I don't know why I thought. It's the famous dads. I thought they were on the same team.
When Dia was a 8th grader, he had current Ohio State wide receiver Brandon Innes with him. Last year, he also had 4-star running back DeAndre Desnoir, who recently committed to West Virginia. He's now at Atlantic High for his senior year. And Malachi Toney, who's one of the top receivers in the class of 2026. He is a Miami verbal commit. Heritage Plantation is loaded.
with all these guys that are from the county doing all of these visits, is there anyone that stands out to you in terms of, okay, this guy is the best out of this bunch, or is it really just a talented pool in general?
Class of 2025 is easily the deepest class in Palm Beach County that we've had since I've covered Palm Beach. Class of 24 was very top heavy, so was class of 23. If I'm looking to do my annual player rankings, it is hard to get a top 50 because honestly, I'd be looking at guys that are in the 30 range and I'm like, that doesn't even seem right. I have dudes outside of the top 10 that, if they were in any other class, are probably a top 3 player. It is an all around deep class from all positions, but especially just a player pool. So if I'm talking about who's the best out of all of them, I'm going to go with the guy that I rated number 1 last year, and that's Waden. And Waden will be my preseason number 1 player. Sorry, spoiler alert. Can't believe nobody saw that one coming.
So Waden, though, and Tony, they both went to UCF. That'd be a dynamic duo if UCF were able to sign both of them. Have you been hearing anything in terms of how that's trending, or are they just taking their due diligence around all the Florida schools?
Well, Tony is a verbal commit to UCF, so
Gotcha.
I think it would take a lot for him to flip. He speaks very highly of Gus Malzahn and his staff. He has for a while now, even before he committed. I was honestly shocked that he committed to UCF. However, you can't blame a kid who one of his main focuses was, I want to be close to home. I want my mom to be at every one of my games. I completely agree, and I stand by part of his reasoning for his commitment. Also, UCF is a trending in the right direction program. I love what UCF has done over the past couple years. UCF as a whole over the past 7 years has been trending in the right direction, especially in the past 3. Being in now a Power 4 conference is huge for them. Waden, I genuinely don't know where Waden's going to go. I have no clue. My crystal ball, I'll say Florida Atlantic University. We'll secure Waden. But
That would be something. I mean, the Owls.
He said on another radio show that the first team that he's looking to rebuild on NCAA 25, or one of the first ones, and they were like, pick an obscure one. He said FAU. Kid you not, you could pull up the tape.
Well, Waden, I have news for you. You could do it in real life. That's even better.
I agree, especially because we're kind of renting receivers this year. We don't really have a lot of underclassmen receivers that are ready to make that jump into the starting role this year. But Waden, he's got 40 plus offers. He's going to go with wherever fits the best for him. Originally, when he was decommitting from Miami, I thought it was going to be Tennessee, but we'll see. He is not making a decision public until midway through the year.
Gotcha. So, we'll get to FAU here now, but before we do, we see guys like Brandon Hawk and all these new generation of Owls that are coming in next, and we see them kind of vouching. I mean, whether it be Owls emojis under other recruits' posts, or the fact that they're just hyping up everything they've seen at FAU, whether it's the official visit. Do you think that there's a connectiveness between this next generation that'll kind of help FAU with building out the team from the South Florida standpoint?
I'm going to start by saying social media is actually the best recruiter. It doesn't matter if it's for college or pro, or if it's for, hey, we grew up playing Delray Rocks together. We should all join up for senior year. That happens like all the time. There are people in college athletics whose whole job is to refresh their players' social medias to see who starts following them, what other programs or what other representatives follow them. That is a full-time job in college athletics now, especially with the transfer portal. So I'm going to open up with that. I believe FAU is another and I am not biasly speaking when I say this. FAU is a program that is doing all of the right things, and they have been for the past since Herman has been here. Obviously, Lane Kiffin really brought the program to life. Willie Taggart killed the program. And now we bring in Tom Herman. Year one, it's a little bit of a shaky year. Year one recruiting class is a little bit of a shaky year. He only has a couple months to bring in the guys that he wants to bring in. Class of 25 recruiting class is bangers after bangers. Everybody was a little frustrated with the whole not really buying into the Tri-County takeover for the class of 24, but guess what? When you're coming in middle of the year and you have a summer and then an off season, all of these kids are already committed. It focusing on 2025 class. So that's what he's really been doing, and he is knocking down historical program commits. St. Thomas Aquinas, Buford, Miami Northwestern, Miami Central. He's moving into the Palm Beach scene. He's got a Palm Beach Gardens guy. He's got West Boca, Brandon Hoke, who is at St. Thomas, was originally at West Boca.
Yep.
He is knocking down Palm Beach. He is getting a lot of Palm Beach traction. He's getting a lot of Broward and Miami-Dade traction. They are seriously recruiting the Tri-County area now. And it is awesome to see because I'm seeing all of these underrated guys pop FAU offers and they're about to commit because FAU is their best offer. And it's not sugarcoating or selling anybody short. It's FAU is trending in that direction.
And so, well, now that we're on the topic of FAU, you mentioned how things have been going over the past 2 or so weeks. And obviously, the new slate of official visits came this weekend. Damon Allen already committed to the team previously. Now he came on an official visit. Logan Husband, Hector Chavez. Anything you hear about those guys or any other official visit news as well for the Owls this week?
So yeah, Damon Allen from West Boca, defensive back. You guys have heard me talk about him for a while, partially because I've known him forever, but also because he is a elite DB. And Hector Chavez, linebacker from Miami Columbus. Both of those guys were verbal commits leading into the official visit weekend. As of about 10 minutes ago, when I last refreshed everybody's Twitters, Logan Husband, offensive lineman, defensive lineman from St. Thomas Aquinas, was the only commit post official visit weekend. However, I'm expecting more to come. Right now, one of FAU's biggest priorities is trying to secure a commitment from defensive back Taiwan Cox from Miami Northwestern. Right now, it's honestly a bidding war between us and USF. Who's going to end up coming with the better package? So, FAU faithful, you guys have to really show love to this kid because he's an elite athlete. He is an elite football player and he's an elite track star. He was part of Miami Northwestern's high-end 4x4 relay that did very well at states. Also, his sister just won the 400 meter at high school nationals. So his twin sister is just as good an athlete as him. So, show love to the whole family. But those are the two biggest things coming out of the visit weekends. Cox came the first weekend, but I would say FAU is trending in the right direction, and part of it is because of social media. If you guys refresh FAU's football's Instagram, On3, 24/7, all of these major recruiting sites are collabing with FAU football on posts that are hyping up our official visit pictures. So shout out to Clay, shout out to Fenton, because you two absolutely killed the past two OV weekends. We're only hosting two OV weekends. So we are done until midway through the year. I think December is our next. But Clay and Fenton, you guys absolutely killed it with the beach shoots. The flicks came out awesome. The videos came out awesome. And the nation is noticing and the recruits are noticing. Paradise is the place to be.
Yeah, it is. And Drew's been here now a couple of years alongside me. Drew, I really can't think of a time where recruiting was buzzing like this at FAU. I mean, they're competing against guys like P5 guys week in and week out. Christian mentioned a guy like Cox, who's, excuse me, debating between us and USF. Do you really is this like the hottest the FAU recruiting market has been you've seen, at least in your time here, at least in terms of incoming freshmen?
I'd say it's the most exciting from my recent memory. I remember before I was even at school, before I even knew I was coming to FAU, I remember the Shadur news.
Yeah.
That's that's the only other time I could think of like really really exciting like FAU football commits. Like I could think of CJ Hurd late in last year. Um, that I mean like last year we were excited about the class, but like I'd probably say this year a little bit more because I don't know. Like we look at the schools of some dudes. Like I remember Ethan Irvin chose us over Utah. Um, and it's not like he's from Florida. I mean, he's from Georgia. It's still a bit of a hike to get down to Boca Raton for him, but um, I don't know. That says something. I forgot who it was. Maybe it was Taiwan Cox, but I think it was someone committed. Christian, fill me in if someone an offer from Oregon. Um, they chose us. Like, I mean, that's crazy. I haven't seen like a school we've really beat out like in Oregon, like for a commit. You know, whether they were fully committed in the kid or not, but like that's like crazy. That's no slouch. I gotta find it, but yeah,
I
probably.
agree.
Who was Christian? What's up?
No, I'm just saying I agree. This is the hottest our recruiting market has been since Lane Kiffin was here. Because
That's what
once again, Herman can recruit, Kiffin can recruit. Taggart,
See,
I would.
yeah, there's so many things with the last era that we won't dwell on here tonight because we're flying through the first half hour here. But I think with FAU football, what Drew was saying, I want to see one of these guys. I mean, Taiwan Cox picking FAU over USF. That's a defining commitment right there. That's a statement one. And he mentioned a guy like Ethan Irvin committing to here instead of Utah. That's also huge, but there needs to be one like big name recruit like Drew was mentioning that was thinking about Power Fives. If FAU is able to land a recruit like that, who like everybody in the country would know, I think that would set FAU ablaze. With the way the social media is being marketed right now, it's like Christian mentioned, it's hard to describe in words how huge it is when your social media blows up. I mean, the school is getting eyes on it from places it hasn't been before, and that will trickle down to athletes as well. So, a big name recruit on top of that, it could really just set the lid off of FAU athletics, football in specifically.
One thing I'll say too about the recruiting. We talked about like just how we've recruited in the past too. This year, you gotta wait to see because they haven't even played their senior year of high school. See what like the final 247 grade is, how the team rankings come out. We're ranked second in the conference, and we just moved up conferences a year ago. So that speaks levels because we weren't even recruiting the best in Conference USA after Kiffin. So yes, being in the AAC helps. It is a part of a recruiting pitch, but the schools you're competing with for recruits are now more difficult. They tend to have more money. They have more prestige within their program because they are in a better conference. Um, as much as USF gets brought up and stuff, they kill recruiting as well. They're ranked top of the conference right now. USF, they're not blowing everybody out of the water, but their average recruit is better than um, everybody else's average recruit, and we're close behind. But we're ahead of a school like ECU. ECU has 12 commits. We have 12 commits, and our average commit is supposedly better than their average commit. So that speaks levels to Coach Herman, the NIL collective we have.
Yeah.
I think coaches. I think the coaches do a great job. I think Coach Rock kills it. Clearly, So many guys have talked about like Robert Lee was like, yeah, like I committed to FAU. I had some other really intriguing offers, but Coach Rock, we talk all the time. We built a relationship, and I want to play for that man. CJ Hurd, Kyle, let's be honest. Our best recruits, like highest ranked recruits, have been like DBs and linebackers and corners and edge rushers. Um, there's,
We've
I mean,
really
yeah,
we've really recruited well on the defensive side of the ball, especially the secondary. But also to like piggyback off of your point, like Taiwan Cox, one of his better offers is Miami. Robert Robert Lee, one of his first offer was Kentucky, and then
I
we
remember.
have guys with P5 offers. There's a lot of guys with like high end New Year's Six team offers like Liberty. I was seeing everybody's got Liberty, so that may sound a little weird, but they played a New Year's Six bowl last year. So I just want to give a shout out to them.
I I remember
Liberty
was
is no scrub school anymore in terms of football. Also, I
so.
think the background because the Panthers are getting carved up, and Bob gave up 3 goals already.
Whoa, 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 whoa. No, don't say that, Christian. I didn't even want to. I didn't even want to think about the Panthers game.
I remember who it was. Zion Perret. It was the stud corner Zion Perret. I think he's from Miami. Yeah, he goes to Miami.
I mean,
I think.
yeah, Miami.
Yeah, so he's got an Oregon offer. He's got Oregon, Louisville, SMU, Tulane, UCF, USF, Georgia Tech, Indiana, Pittsburgh, a lot of them. So, yep, he was recruited heavily, and we want him because that Tri-County takeover. Um, they're bought in. I mean, you look at our recruits, one out-of-state guy so far. That's
Mhm.
Ethan Irvin, the running back. So,
From Buford, Georgia, which is one of the high end top programs in the country. Once again, like I rave about this kid because one, we need running backs, but also the fact that we're able to once again lock down a historical program that is big.
We'll get to softball in the second half here in just a moment. But FAU softball landed a pitcher from Buford, Georgia, as well. She went 32-1. So I think that school, there's just something about Buford, Georgia, and Buford High School. They're pushing out some athletes over there. So
yeah.
we'll get to softball here in just a moment. Winding down here on football, Christian. The class of 26 just opened up their doors to potential offers just 3 days ago. Any thoughts on the class of 26? Is FAU already making any pushes at some 26 guys that you know of off the top of your head?
All right, so June 15th of every year is it that's the day that the dead period ends to where rising juniors are allowed to receive official offers from schools. It's that way for all sports. However, some it's you're not even able to talk to a Division One coach until June 15th. For smaller sports like swimming and I believe beach volleyball as well, if I'm not mistaken, by FAU's social media posts.
Hmm.
But for football, you are allowed to speak with coaches. You are allowed to go to camps, go to showcases. You are allowed to receive offers. We have offered numerous high end guys in Palm Beach County from the class of 26. First guys that are coming from my mind is literally anybody at West Boca because West Boca has the best 26 class in the county with 4-star running back Javian Mallory, 3-star quarterback Mason Mallory, Demetrius Gathers, who's a DN tight end, he's elite, and then also Palm Beach Central quarterback Chance Routson. So those 4 local guys, off of the top of my head, have FAU offers. So
Hmm.
I would be very interested to see if we could lock down either Mallory or Routson because they are both elite quarterbacks. Mallory is definitely like I'll give Ty Starks like that's probably my best comparison for you guys. He's mobile. He's got a good arm. However, his biggest thing that I've noticed is his development throughout the offseason. He is 100 times better of a quarterback than he was at the end of the fall versus in spring. He has improved a lot. I'm not saying that he was not good last year. He was a very great quarterback, but he seriously improved and developed. Routson, I think, is the best quarterback in the county. I said that last year when he was at Boca and he was throwing to nobody, respectfully. It's the way the cookie crumbles. Yay, the Panthers scored. Anyway, yeah, Routson, my best pro comp is Josh Allen. He's a tall kid. He's 6'2" already at like.
So that sounds like there what I was asking about at FAU a couple weeks ago. Was saying, at least on here, that franchise quarterback, it's about time FAU gets one of those guys in freshman year that could be a 4-year starter and be the face of the program for whoever knows how long. And it sounds like there's potential in either of those guys.
I would be very happy. I'm always happy to secure the local guys, especially because I've had the privilege of covering them for however long. And then to be able to cover them in college, it's a big thing. Going to media day the other day and seeing Mike Wright, who I've known since he was 14 years old, seeing him in an FAU jersey, that was a sentimental moment for me. Like that was awesome to see.
Dude, wouldn't that be so cool? Talk about, I forgot what year it was he was recruited, but like Michael Pratt going to Tulane, imagine him being like the hometown quarterback, FAU savior.
Exactly.
Like that could be like, that's what like really is like would be the coolest thing ever for FAU football. Like it was like wins and losses, put that aside, but like hometown quarterback,
exactly,
multiple years and then goes to the NFL, but he was from Boca to begin with. That's what FAU football, make it happen.
Yeah. I thought we were gonna get one of those in class of 24. I really thought we were gonna. There was a kid. I'm not gonna name drop. He's now at Florida State. I really thought as a PWO, he's now a tight end. I really thought we were gonna pop an offer for him. He is 6'5", he is mobile, and he has a cannon of an arm. I thought after a big senior season, we were going to drop an offer on him. I tried like hell to get that offer. I sent his film to everybody in the building just because same thing. I wanted that franchise hometown guy. But if instead we've got the franchise cornerstone defensive backs, that's just as fine with me. If we can secure a high level Palm Beach receiver, that would be awesome because our biggest strength for this graduating class, 25, is receivers. We have about 25 elite receivers, and Brandon Hoke was part of that. So I'll right now I'll say Brandon Hoke is our hometown hero.
There you go. Just something to root for there for FAU football. Love a good hometown hero. But hey, we've flown past our 9:30 break here, so we'll wrap it up on FAU football. We'll take a quick break. When we come back, we'll talk FAU hoops. Aditya Malhotra introduced as the new assistant coach. We don't got a new head coach just yet, but he's joining John Jacobs' staff. We'll break that down for you, along with some FAU softball recruits and what FAU baseball players have been up to in the summer. We'll take a quick break here on Bleacher Brothers. When we come back, we've got that for you and more.
When I just got here, I was just a bit like, I don't want to be here anymore.
Pull me out of this. Pull me out of this. Touch me.
Oh my God.
Talk to me.
I knew we were gonna dance, but we danced so hard.
Touch me.
Holy shit.
Talk to me. Touch me. You know how to calm me down. 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 Pull me out of this.
Welcome back, everybody, here after a short break on the Bleacher Brothers Sports Network. Robbie LaStella here with you, Drew Schuler, Christian Prosha as well. Talking more FAU here, moving on to FAU basketball. They got a new assistant coach this week, new in some sort. If you tuned into our interview with Trey Carroll live, if you tuned in live, the recording didn't catch it, but if you tuned in live, Trey Carroll mentioned on the show a couple of weeks ago that Aditya Malhotra, AD, as he's known to the players and friends, was on staff here, has been for a couple of weeks, but it's official now. AD is a guy who's been at Baylor, who was at Baylor from I believe 2013 to 2022. Spent the last 2 years with the Phoenix Suns. A very diverse candidate. I mean, he worked his way up from GA to director of basketball operations, which I mean, that's a grind right there. Spent 9 years with one organization with Baylor, helped them go all the way to a championship. And I spoke with Obum Okeke about his addition. Okeke said he coached Malhotra, is a very smart guy, very passionate, very hard worker. He was the backbone of the Baylor team as the director of basketball operations and had a hand in everything when they won it all. Again, that was Obum Okeke, FAU assistant coach as well. So that was what he had to say about Aditya coming on staff, and I think that speaks volumes, at least to me. A guy who is the director of basketball operations, Obum GA at the time, and also played under Aditya and Scott Drew and John Jacobs as well. So he knows firsthand what Aditya brings to the table as a coach, and Obum's a fan, so that's awesome to hear. And now the staff is finalized, right? It's got a diverse group between Aditya Malhotra, Obum Okeke, and Isaiah Austin. That is a combination of NBA and college experience that it really doesn't get much better than that when you're trying to get players to the pros. I mean, you had Aditya Malhotra, who was with the Suns as a director of recruiting at a pro level. You have Isaiah Austin, who, had it not been for a medical issue, would have been a first-round NBA pick. And Obum Okeke played with Baylor and saw what they needed there at his level. And then again with the Thunder and the Pacers, he was involved with their organizations as well. So a lot going on with those three right there, and the potential to really help these guys get to the next level. FAU has a lot of older players on this roster. That have had college experience that may be looking to go pro sooner than later. And I think AD, Obum, and Isaiah Austin all have the ability to help them get there. And then you look at the rest of the staff, Todd Abernathy coming back here in year 2. That's an immense add, I guess if you call it an add. He comes in with all the experience he gained at FAU, plus now he gets to tap in deeper into his international recruiting. So I think he is going to play a huge role on the staff, more than people may realize, just because his international recruiting skills are strong as well alongside Coach Jacobs. So right there, those two will be able to work hand in hand. And then you bring in Jordan Fee, Damon Parker as well. Jordan Fee, he's going to be a very huge X's and O's coach for this Owls team. Had an offense that averaged 100 points per game, Nova Southeastern and Gannon. So that offense is translatable here to FAU. And Damon Parker, he's been a fast riser in the coaching ranks. Coached at Furman and was just playing college basketball just a couple years ago, and now has worked his way up here to on staff at FAU. So, Drew, I'll start with you. Any thoughts on Adichie's addition to the staff and the staff overall?
What I see is a staff full of studs that are going to be future college basketball head coaches, or whatever they move on to do eventually, if they decide to eventually seek new avenues. But yeah, I mean, like, dude, what is there to complain about on this coaching staff? Nothing. You know who else was a director of basketball operations? John Jacobs was.
There you go.
So another stud brought into the coaching staff. You know, I have nothing but high praise for every single one of them. They all bring something different, which I think is really cool. But they also clearly all kind of share the same ideology and love for basketball, because they've all been extremely successful in their previous paths. I really like Jordan Fee and what he's talked about with that buckyball 100 point offense with that crazy press defense. I love what Jacobs has talked about with that high screen pick and roll European style basketball. Todd Abernathy's been around the Dusty's system. He's been a player at Ole Miss, and then the big men, Isaiah, being a player, and Oben being a player, and then them both spending time in the NBA. So, and then not to forget anybody like Damon Parker, but yeah, no, just excellent. What an excellent staff, and another great dude brought in. He spent time on those Baylor staffs where clearly, like OKK said, he was the backbone behind that. It wasn't even just 1 year. I think it was 2021 they won the Natty. It was a ton of years that they were elite. So I'm very excited to bring him in. It's just crazy to me. I don't know about you guys, but like, dude, like, these dudes are like serious, and they're coming to like FAU. Like when I committed to FAU, when I came here in 2021, I was like, FAU basketball. Oh, okay. Like, I don't know anybody, but okay. I know we have basketball. Now it's like, oh, like we're like taking people away from like NBA jobs and like Baylor and like Furman, who's in March Madness. Like, yeah. That's the like, for people that actually think that we would go back to like old FAU, like, remove any hatred or bias, because that's clearly not the case. Like, clearly there was, a cause and effect of a Final Four run, and then the perfect hire in John Jacobs. Maybe that's too soon to say, but
yeah, I don't know yet. Well, it seems like all the pieces have kind of come together here. I mean, the staff is now intact. The players are here. We'll see how everything develops over the next couple of months with summer practices and stuff, and all that comes with it. Secret scrimmage season, all that good stuff. So it'll be good to get to talk to some of these players here in the next couple of weeks. Hopefully, be able to get our FAU guest program going back here on the LASTELLA Report. It's been a little bit, but don't worry, folks. We've got something cooking for y'all. Hopefully, maybe later this week, if not next week, in terms of FAU basketball guests. So stay tuned for that next week. But at the moment, no FAU guests on tap. But I'm a huge fan of the staff and all the additions that have been made to the team as well. But it's just, you don't see a staff all the time that gets built where all but really one of them, and Damon Parker, like I said, he is a fast riser in the coaching ranks. All of them have really extreme experience, whether it be in the NBA or overseas or college ranks. I think all of that is going to culminate into a really diverse program that's going to make some noise in the AAC. Real quick before we move on to softball and baseball here, we're running out of time, but I wanted to do this really quickly. There's some teams in the AAC this season outside of FAU that honestly, I think that, I think that may surprise some people, and one of them, in my opinion, and we'll get Drew and Christian's voices here on their sleeper possible pick in the AAC, or just who they think will make some noise. But for me, and I'm going to get clowned on this, I don't care, but my sleeper team in the AAC is Rice, and Rice is I know Rice last year, it wasn't good basketball. I don't. Scott Parra was their coach, and it just didn't work out well. But they got a guy in this year who's coming for vengeance. Rob Lanier, who was fired from SMU for Andy Enfield, for SMU to bring in a recruiting class full of one and done guys. Lanier was trying to build that program, would have gone to the ACC with them, and continued building that. He goes to Rice, and he brings with him Jalen Smith from SMU. He also brings in his son, Emery Lanier. Jalen Smith, a 3-star. Emery Lanier, also a 3-star. And then he's bringing in Caden Powell and Trey Branagh as well. All 3-star recruits. I don't have Rice's list from last year on hand, but I can't imagine they were recruiting star recruits of any level. Just based off what I was seeing on the court last season, it wasn't clicking for the Houston Owls. So I think this season with Lanier at the helm, they got I believe the 31st overall player in the state of Texas, Aaron Powell, committed to them as well. 31st, that's not horrible. And then they also get Anthony Benson from Scottsdale, Arizona, another 3-star. So a ton of talent going in there to coach Lanier this season. Obviously we'll see how all that works together, but I think Coach Lanier is a good coach, and I think he's coming in with a vengeance. Give me Rice this season to make some noise.
Yes, because nepotism in college athletics works every time, Rob Lanier. Just ask Penny Hardaway and his trash kid how Memphis's season ended. I don't think Rice is going to be good. They're just going to be ass again. Honestly, like there is no team in this conference that I am scared of. Like, give me Memphis, give me USF with their Mickey Mouse schedule. Shout out Jason Tatum. Shout out the NBA for thankfully not making Jason Tatum Finals MVP. But I'm not afraid of the Mickey Mouse Bulls. I'm not afraid of Memphis. Like, give me anybody, everybody. Give me UConn. Give me Michigan. Give me whoever else was in those stupid power rankings the other day. Give me everybody, because we will beat everybody.
I have a lot to speak on this conference. I'll start off with answering your question. And Robbie, I think you've had a similar opinion. The Temple Owls as my underrated team. I really like Keenan Blackshear that they brought in. I don't think they lost a whole lot. They proved to catch fire last year. They had some weird stuff going on. I don't think their coach is a bad coach at all. I think
Adam Fisher, he's a good coach, a great dude as well.
Yeah. So, I think they're a team to watch out for, a historical program. It's like they've been uncharacteristically down recently. I'll tell you some teams. I just have to say it. One team I'm not scared of, UNT. Like, dude, you always have to evaluate in the offseason. Like, everyone's like, oh, we brought in these guys, but like, who did you lose? And how are you looking in comparison to the rest of the conference? This team might have just downgraded like every single person that left. Like, they kept their bigs, but like, dude, CJ Noland gone. He was their shooting guard. John Bugs the third, gone. Reuben Jones gone. He's going to Michigan. Aaron Scott, their best player, he's going to St. John's. Jason Edwards going to Vanderbilt. Like, and then what they brought in, like
Brennan Lorian.
Maybe like Aiton Wright. Like, I don't know. Like I think Ross Hodge is someone I thought was a good coach. I thought he'd be able to kind of keep what like McCaslin had rolling at UNT because they were like, they were still like scrappy last year. They gave us games. They played us hard, but like, dude, like if you're just gonna stay like complacent, like I don't see it how like a team like this could come close to competing. I just don't think they have the dudes for it, and I don't know. I just think that's kind of on administration, maybe
Yeah.
being pressured to stay within and hire within, and just not the dudes. But like if there was a team, I'm not scared of anybody, but like I think it's kind of clear that us and Memphis are the best two teams in the conference. Like just from like a preview perspective, because Memphis has the two stud guards, and whatever way you put it, they're going to be a really tough guard. No pun intended, but but I think where they lack is their bigs. I think our big guys, someone like Baba Miller is going to be like a mismatch nightmare for like, let's say it's Dane Danger that's starting for them at center. I mean, like Vlad took his lunch money last year. Baba is obviously a different player, but Baba is like a very, very good big, and
Yeah.
he's a mismatch nightmare. That's where I think we were, that and the coaching end is where we beat Memphis. No disrespect, by the way, to UAB. I just don't. I think their guard play isn't going to be as nearly as good as ours with Leland Walker, and then I think USF is probably that fourth team ish. Where I just think they had a really brutal, those three brutal losses. Like Youngblood was a bucket, Pryor and Selton Miguel. I won't miss them. Youngblood was butter when we played him. And then they had a really nice recruit they brought in, the top 100 player in his recruiting class, but I don't think that makes up for the losses. I think USF will have a worse team than last year.
I agree with your take about UAB to an extent. I also think that Yaxel Lindenborg will probably end up being Conference Player of the Year this year. The fact that they were able to keep him from NBA waters, because there was serious talk that he was going to go pro, but
And
also,
the portal.
Yeah.
and I was about to say, and from something even more dangerous is, oh crap, we might have to play against him because of the portal nowadays. I think that being able to retain him and then him doing the social media recruiting that I was talking about earlier, like he's a big Twitter warrior with that stuff.
Yeah.
Like, come to Alabama, Birmingham. No, thank you. I do not want to go to Birmingham, Alabama, but you do you, bro. Heard it's a beautiful city, but not my cup of tea. I'll take Boca Raton. But yeah, I think he'll end up being Conference Player of the Year. I think UAB is going to be a very solid team, and it's shown for the past 2-3 years now. They give us hell every time we play them. We honestly don't have a very good track record against UAB over the past couple of years.
UAB kills us too at home, and they have a good coach.
Andy Kennedy is probably, 1 and 2, or Andy Kennedy right now is, Coach Jake is great coach, seemed like so far, but I got to give the number 1 coach in the conference right now to AK, just because he's been around so long, coached at Ole Miss. Now he's here at UAB doing his thing. Veteran coach, able to compete in the portal as well. Portal hasn't passed him by. He's been around a while, but he's been able to adjust. I think that shows a lot about AK. So I think he's a really solid coach, and we'll see. Who comes out on top next season in the AAC? A lot of competition for sure. A lot of storylines to follow. Winding down here, though, on the Bleacher Brothers Sports Network, and I wanted to touch on FAU softball really quick before we got out of here, because softball has been rolling in the portal. It's not as splashy. You don't hear about it as much as you do basketball, but we'll make sure to touch on it here on the Bleacher Brothers Sports Network. Owls, as you may or may not know, lost a decent amount of players in the transfer portal. Or not in the transfer portal, just to graduation. But they've been active in that transfer portal as well. So first off, they were able to get Kylie Shelton, not Shannon. Kylie Shelton comes in from Collegiate. She was the freshman of the year up there at Collegiate. She's a center fielder. She comes in hitting 324 in her freshman year, 5 homers, 28 RBIs, along with 24 runs scored. So she'll look to replace Cam Jackson. Doesn't necessarily have the power that Jackson had, but has that contact ability. And so she'll be able to slot in, maybe in center field. We'll see. Right away, but that was a solid addition right off the rip. And then they go out and they go and land former Queens pitcher Autumn Courtney. Trinity Schlotterbeck graduated at the end of last season. She was one of 2 aces between her and Gabby Sacco. Autumn Courtney comes in. A 2-time A-Sun performer at Queens, and the A-Sun has been pretty competitive. FGCU out of the A-Sun when they beat FAU in the regional matchup in Gainesville. So talent is everywhere in softball. We get a pitcher from the A-Sun that dominated 1.94 ERA, 36 wins, 448 strikeouts, and 416 innings of work. Opponents couldn't hit over 200 against her last year. So she comes in with the ability to be an ace right alongside Gabby Sacco. And so today, the FAU went out and made one more move in the transfer portal, 3rd so far. They landed Ciara Gibson from Liberty, played in 1 game this past season, so she should have 4 years of eligibility remaining. Middle infielder, utility player, Florida native as well. Coach Clark hopping on the Tri-County recruiting, but she's not from the South Florida area, so I guess that doesn't
from
work.
Jacksonville.
Yeah, but Florida recruiting nevertheless. 3-time All-Clay County, batted .476 her junior year, her senior year 304, while also not missing a single play in the infield, 1,000 fielding percentage for Ciara. So she will head to Paradise and possibly look to make a role in that middle infield. Maybe next season we'll see her playing right alongside Cameron Orland, making an impact for the Owls. They also were able to bring in some freshmen as well. Sophia Camacho from Boca High, right around the corner. She'll fill the catching hole for the Owls next season. Meg Mole graduated. And Coach Clark mentioned about Camacho that she loves her ability to build relationships with pitchers. I think that is huge coming in as a freshman, as a catcher, right? If she's going to come in and contribute right away, she's got to be able to work with Sacco. She's got to be able to work with Courtney, who's coming in. So a lot developing for the Owls at the pitcher-catcher position. But, if Camacho can hold it down, I think, local talent like we talked about in other sports, Boca High, she could be a face of the franchise for the Owls. Emma Grace Williams is coming in. First pitcher the Owls have brought in as a freshman. She went 32-1 this past season at Buford, Georgia High School. So we'll see if she slots into that starting rotation as well. So just a little bit of FAU softball news for you there, folks. Owls will be looking to make it back next season to the regional round, look to win the AAC again. So yeah, we will see what's up with the FAU softball Owls next season. And we just want to make a correction. Camacho went to Spanish River, not Boca High. Still, however, the Owls will have a hometown hero there, Spanish River, right around the corner. So, and in terms of FAU baseball, not a ton to note about, but I did want to let you guys know I've been following the South Florida Collegiate Baseball League. Tyler Murphy has thrown 18 strikeouts over 10 innings. He's 2-0 as a starting pitcher for the Boynton Beach Buccaneers. And Carter Brady is playing for the Palm Beach Extreme. He's batting over 500 through 4 games played. Brady and the Bucs matched up against yesterday. Brady went 3-for-5 with a run scored. So Owls active in the SFCBL. Jacob Paletto and Dylan Murphy, Tyler's brother, also rising freshman headed to FAU next season. So That's all we've got, though, for you folks tonight on the Bleacher Brothers Sports Network. Ton of FAU news for you guys to go and catch through. If you missed it tonight, make sure to tune back in on replay. We'll make sure to have it posted on YouTube and X for you. Tons of football notes, FAU staff notes, some AAC predictions from us, FAU softball recap, and to close it out, some FAU baseball news. Thank you guys for tuning in as usual. We may be back later this week. If not, we'll catch you guys next week, early in the week, with another FAU weekly show. For Drew Shula and Christian Prosha, I'm Robbie LaStella. Thank you guys for tuning in to the Bleacher Brothers show. Have a great night, everybody. We'll see